Welcome to the Sisters of Sexuality 5 Shades of Play podcast, and thank you so much for tuning in. Question: are you a subscriber of our show? If not, and you've been listening in for a while, please consider subscribing as a way of supporting the growth of this channel and allowing us to keep you informed, educated, and entertained. Today's episode is sponsored by Liberator Sex Pillows and Shapes. Introducing Waves of Excitement, the Equus Wave, a revolutionary 5-in-1 positioning platform designed for ultimate pleasure. Crafted from high-density foam and adorned with a luxurious velvet cover, this discreet beauty transforms into an array of enticing angles, slopes, curves, and elevations. Experience a lift during oral sex as the Equus Wave's innovative design eases joint and neck strain. Visit Liberator.com for your Equus Wave. That's Liberator.com for added waves of excitement to your next night of passion. Hello, sexies. You are listening to Sisters of Sexuality 5 Shades of Play, and I am Taylor Sparks, your host and sex goddess for the evening. We are here for the purposes of educating, entertaining, and informing you in all areas of sexuality, sexual health, kink, relationships, and the business of sex. Today, I am so excited to bring on my new guest, as I am always excited, but this is a very special guest to me. But before I bring her on, let me tell you a little bit about her. TickleLife's founder and CEO, Shakun Sethi, a 35-year-old who has been working within the high-risk business vertical of adult wellness for over 7 years now, and realized that the sector was hugely underserved. It was in 2015 when Shakun first experienced an adult wellness store in the Netherlands while pursuing her executive diploma. She hails from an Indian Punjabi family in Jammu, north of India. She had never seen an adult wellness store back in India, let alone been inside of one. She taught herself about the business, asked questions to store owners, and realized that although adult wellness was a fast-growing vertical, it remained underserved mostly due to preconceived reputational perils. TickleLife is a young fintech startup proud of its breakthrough efforts for the high-risk industry verticals within the 3 years of its existence. Their products and services are tailored, keeping in mind the nature of products or services of their B2B partners who come from adult entertainment, sexual wellness, online gaming, legal gaming, sports betting, and pharmaceutical e-commerce businesses, ethical CBD, among others. TickleLife's latest, TickleCharge, is a payment solution stack developed in collaboration with banks, payment providers, and feedback from merchants who have been working for over 2 decades within the financial payment ecosystem of supporting high-risk businesses. With TickleCharge, high-risk businesses can accept payments in over 20 currencies, including Bitcoins, at a very competitive transaction rate and keep their business ahead of the curve. Shakun, welcome to the show. Or I say welcome back to the show. It's been a while.
I know, Taylor. How are you? And thank you so much for inviting me again.
No, I mean, well, so much has happened in the last, could it be 3 years ago? 4?
Yeah. During COVID, yes. 3 years.
It was before COVID because we met at the Sex Expo.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's been at least 4, if not 5 years.
Wow.
Because COVID, so we either met in 2018 or either 2019.
Oh wow. So it's been a long time now.
Yeah. Because how long is TickleLife launched when?
It's been 4 years. Actually, it will be 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels as if I was born and this is what I started doing. I don't even remember my previous life. 4 years. Whoa.
Well, I'm going to assume that is a good thing. So I know what I read, but I really want your take on, why TickleLife is so important, especially for those of us who are in what's considered a high-risk business. And a lot of people don't realize that the sex toy industry is considered a high-risk industry, and they were like, why would a sex toy be high risk? I don't know, but tell us just even how this all came to be.
Absolutely. So the last time when I met you, if you remember, TickleLife was a content platform. We were doing what a lot of people in the sex ed industry do, and our mission was clear that we want sexuality to be discoverable. Because you read my profile and you just spoke about me. I always considered myself to be a target. So if I'm a target, and for me, it becomes so hard to go and find till the time I'm 30 to find even a sex toy shop is a very big deal. Yeah. So the mission was very clear that we are going to be, making discoverability easier. We are going to bring in a lot of people from the industry to talk about it, people who do not find inroads into people's houses, even though they've been working for so many years. And that was how it was. Like a lot of people who I used to meet, our readers would always question, how do you find these people? And, that's actually not a very interesting or a very good thing to say. That's pretty unfortunate, because most of the people who TickleLife was working with were people who have been, known as the veterans in the industry. So that was how it was starting. But then, like as anybody and everybody in the industry goes through, we needed to make money and nobody was ready to give us payments. And we were getting flags. And that's exactly why we had to go back to the drawing table and discuss that what can we do? What cannot we do? This is not sustainable. There has to be a solution. And the solution is that there needs to be a payment ecosystem which takes us on without questioning us, because we are not doing anything illegal. We are
exactly.
We are an angel funded startup, and that is how we evolved. We started talking to a lot of people. We saw an opportunity. We also saw that if we really need to stay on our mission of discoverability, we need to make it possible for a lot of other companies who are in the sexuality industry to make money and to take in money and to give out money. Like how the economics of any business works.
Cash flow.
Exactly, cash flow, and about it.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll talk about it if that's okay by you, because I think it's a fabulous case study for anyone to understand. So we went back, we evaluated, we figured out, this is an opportunity and this needs to be done by someone, and that's how TickleCharge was born. So TickleCharge is a fintech. It's a pivot of a sex ed platform into a platform which makes it possible that you get your payments, you get your processing in place, one way or the other. So there are multiple components of it.
Okay.
But ultimate goal is very simple, that if you are ready to work in the vice industry, you should be in a position to make money as long as you're doing legal work.
Right. So the vice industry is sex toys, porn.
So anything to do with sexuality, number one.
Sexuality.
Anything to do with iGaming, iSports, esports, all those things.
Okay. Do you do CBD?
Yes, CBD.
Legal CBD, medical marijuana?
Absolutely. And a lot of different other components of vice industry also. Some we touch and some we do not touch, but there are over 163 industries which fall under vice industries. So
there are over 163 industries that are making money day in and day out that fall under the umbrella of vice industries.
Exactly.
That may be struggling because they don't have a payment processor, a payment gateway. What else is there? What else? What's this? There's three pieces: the payment process, a payment gateway, a payment processor,
or a bank,
or a merchant bank, merchant account.
Yeah.
But they're totally legal in most countries. Let's just say the U.S. Right? These vices, these companies are legal, but they are having issues with cash flow because the customers come and want their product and or services, but a bank or a payment gateway or a payment processor is like, no,
absolutely,
we don't want no parts of you vixen, you whore, you gamer.
Absolutely,
You
absolutely,
pothead. It's like,
absolutely. I so agree with your explanation, because I think that's really perfect for a lot of other people to understand. But I would like to come to your next question about the sex toys, and
please,
are
how are
they
sex
high risk
toys
on? Yeah.
a vice?
So technically, sex toys are not vices, or sex toys are not high risk, because we're talking
Mhm.
about high risk businesses right now.
Yes.
But what happens is, because there's not a very specific definition of a sex toy.
Mm.
There are going to be a lot of substitutes. There are going to be a lot of um, added requirements that you would need in
Mhm.
order to use sex toys. Like, suppose if you're using a lube. If a
Right.
lube is a CBD-induced lube,
Mhm.
CBD is high risk because there are multiple components and it is related to health in a way,
It is.
right? So
Right.
what goes in the CBD, how CBD lube was made, what
Mhm.
was the different composition,
Mhm.
everything
Mhm.
goes into the question mark. So then it becomes high risk, because what if you're saying one thing and you're
Yes.
doing something else?
Mm.
When we talk about sex toys, there's one
Mhm.
sex toy which is just about vibrators. But then now with the advent of AI,
Mm.
a lot of things have been changing. Is somebody recording your activity? Is
Mm.
somebody doing things that they should not be doing? Have
Yeah,
you given a disclaimer? So it becomes very complicated. It is
sure.
not a straight cut vibrator anymore.
Well, okay. I mean,
You
even
know,
before AI, I mean, my business has been around 10 years and I've had to struggle for almost 10 years. Not directly.
then the
Mhm.
question would come from the CBD point of view.
Right.
But again, something that a lot of us do not realize, it is just not about the business that we're doing.
Mm.
It is also about how we are doing it.
Meaning?
I always tell people that the website that you're selling on, what
Mhm.
kind of image does it project?
Mhm.
Sex toys are an aid to better sex life,
Right.
right? But they
Correct.
are not a pornographic mean or a pornographic aid.
Right.
But then if you will make your website look as if it's super pornographic, then the
Yes.
question comes, what's happening here? It's
Yes.
not an e-commerce platform anymore.
This is very interesting that you say this because that when I built my website, that was the one thing that I did not want.
Absolutely.
Meaning that I did not want that if you go to my website, just go to the homepage and your 8-year-old wanders in, that you're not like, oh my God,
Right.
I gotta shut down everything. Because first of all, some of the toys, I carry very few dildos that look like penises, like actual penises. Um, Mostly because some of them I don't like the material of them. But with today's technology, there are so many amazing
Yeah.
products that do so many amazing things that don't look like penises. So it was never like I never wanted it to look that way. I wanted people to be comfortable at the site and look for what they were looking for. I mean, there are a few. They're just you got to look for them. Just not
Absolutely.
that they're not that many.
But still, like, they are there. So somebody who's sitting and giving you an account has to go through each and every item.
Yes.
Then there's another point which makes, sex toy seller as a high
Mm-hmm.
risk business. A
Hmm.
lot of them do not have disclaimers. A lot of them do not have privacy policies,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
because somebody's sharing the data. I'm
Oh,
putting my account details, I'm putting my credit card details. So
right.
how are you going to keep it in mind that my data is not shared by somebody else?
True. Okay. Okay. I get that.
Then how would I connect with you?
Mm-hmm.
Is there an email? Is there a phone number? Is there an
Right.
address if something goes
Yes.
bad?
Right.
Because there's also a very thin line about sex toys being a medical aid
Mm-hmm.
and just a fun aid.
Right. And there are some, which is why we have the sexual health and wellness segment that literally are
Exactly.
like the O nut and the Yarlap. Those are medical aids. that you can use to improve your sex or
Absolutely.
yeah.
So when you're selling medical aids, and if you're not giving the comfort to your customer to connect with you in case it doesn't work or in case it does something wrong, how's it going to happen? Because if you see any ad on TV, which is talking about any pharmaceutical company, you'll always see that they give a number at the end.
Yes.
Right? So where is that? A lot of time what happens is sex toy e-commerce companies do not give those on the website.
True.
But
as I've looked for some.
Exactly, right? See, ultimately what you have to understand is it's about how are you going to safeguard the buyer?
Okay.
Buyer, how would you make it point that if the buyer is not happy, they have an opportunity to either get their money back?
Yes.
Or to read about what kind of information they are sharing?
Yes.
Or to talk to someone. And if all these components are not there, that's when how you're running your business comes into question. And that's what makes you high risk.
Okay.
Just sex toys would never make you high risk. Unless you work with, processors and payment processors and companies who are completely against anything to do with sexuality. Because they're also going to question mark against a sex ed platform. That is what happened with us. So that's why you have to go to very specific, platforms who understand that what you're doing. So
does TickleLife and or TickleCharge, are you also working? So you're working with sex toy companies like mine, and full disclaimer, we're working together, right? So you're working with companies like mine. Are you also working with the other part of me as an educator? So let's say I only did education and I offered live workshop seminars. I offered retreats. I offer online coaching, but it's all based on sex, sexuality, sexual health, sexual relationships. So it's, falling under that category. Do you work with educators who have a platform that's growing that needs to process payments?
Absolutely. See, we work with any and everyone.
Okay.
who is coming from this industry. Because, like I said, the problem started with a sex education platform, finding a space, finding an opportunity to take money in. So we do, but I always make it a point of telling people, and in fact, my team also does the same, that there's a lot of money involved and a lot of fees involved. Like, Visa, MasterCard might take you if they think that you're high risk. Most of the time it would not be, but what if they take? I believe, Taylor, you were not supposed to give the Visa, MasterCard fee, right?
I don't know what you mean. I was supposed to.
Oh, did you give any annual Visa and MasterCard fees? No, you didn't. No. See, so that means that what means is you were not considered to be high risk.
Right. Okay? Yeah. Annual no.
From an industry point of view.
Yes.
So a lot of these educators, a lot of therapists, they would not be considered high risk.
Right.
But what are they talking about?
Sure.
Is different. But then again, because they will be going to somebody like PayPal, Stripe, who has a very specific policy, and they do not understand the ambiguity of this industry.
Sure.
The easiest thing to do is let's not take them on.
Do you think that they believe, I know you can't think for them, but based on your knowledge of the industry now, that PayPal and Stripe, they just like, we don't have the bandwidth to do the research to find out what these people are doing. So we're just not going to do it. We make enough money we're just going to stay in our lane. We don't need this whole new risky lane. Do you think that's the possibility? While other people are like, we like this lane. This is our lane. The hell with y'all.
So there can be multiple. One is what you're suggesting, and I think that's a very, very important point. Number two is also about something called a vice clause. So maybe their investors have made them sign a clause that they would not work with vice industry. So if they have signed it, even if they want to do it, even if they want to employ multiple people, they would not be. Coming back to the point one, which was the bandwidth, the rules of the high risk industry keep on changing.
Hmm.
So when the rules keep on changing, it's harder to keep a check on what's happening.
Yeah.
So people who are very specifically working in this industry will be the one who will be able to work, because they're putting everything here. So these, and if I'm being honest, if I was PayPal and Stripe, even I would not do it.
Really?
Yes,
Because
I
of
would
the
not.
constant change?
Constant change. One person comes under question, my entire merchant accounts, like all the merchant accounts that I have, would come under question, because I still am working with some bank. I still am working with different processors. I'm technically just a bridge. So I can't jeopardize everyone just for somebody who's just doing maybe like $10,000 a month.
Sure.
So I would not do it. Or maybe I would create another company or another vertical which completely works different. So that still boils down to the same thing, that you need very specific capability of working in this industry.
Sure. So what, you started off with one thing, this platform for educators and people to be discoverable and find things about sex. And then you discover this totally underserved market, and you and your team, you pivot, right? What has been the most challenging part of the pivot? Has it been finding the high risk customers to come on board with you? Has it been getting the processors and the banks to come on board with you? Because now you're kind of, you're the collaborator. You have a hand on each side of the money, so to speak. You're like, hey, I can help you get a processor, get a chart, get a merchant account. And then you say to the merchant account, I have some people here who need your services. And it's a win-win for everybody if you partner. What have you found to be the most challenging part when you took this pivot?
Initially, the challenging part was making the financial bodies understand about the sexuality industry, because that was the industry that TickleCharge started with.
Okay.
Because for them, there is not enough money, which is correct. A lot of the people in the industry are not making money. So when we give a projection of millions and trillions of dollars, only a very specific few of them are able to make money.
Only a few, because I know like 2 years ago, I think Adam and Eve did more than 10 million.
So Adam and Eve,
they've been around 31 years.
Exactly. Like it's still, you can't say that every third person is going to be making money.
No,
because when you're talking, because when you talk about the industry is supposed to be $1 trillion, then you expect that almost everybody would make up some money.
Some.
Yes. And a very, very small chunk of people are making money. And those people already understand that there is a way of doing business. They can't jeopardize thinking that, hey, everybody should cater to us, so I will go to everyone. They understand that, there are specialized places to go to. There are specialized banks to go to.
Right.
And that is the reason why they're able to make money, because they're fighting, they've chosen their battles.
What's in their what?
They've chosen their battles. And
they've chosen their battles.
Yeah.
Yes.
So their battles are not going and fighting with PayPals and Stripes.
Yeah.
Their battle is, how do I increase my revenue?
Right. Which is kind of now where I am. And it's taken me almost 10 years to get here. Right. Is how do I increase my revenue? Because we had a big upsurge during COVID. That just so happened to, it was like the perfect storm for us, when a lot of other sex toy stores did not fare as well. And it just happened so that the way the company was structured, it turned out better for us. And so fortunately, because of that, and then the right PR agent, and my background, of course, it just all kind of melded together. So even though during this recession, the recession and the inflation, there's been a big drop in income, there still has been the residual of being known, the company as a whole. So that has been helpful to be one of the few.
Yeah, and like with me, because I worked with you and you were going through something, uh, it's like a case study which we want to teach our people whenever
Please
they join. Yeah,
teach this case.
yeah, exactly. It's something very interesting. What or the reason why we stick on with you was you were ready to listen because you were thinking like a business person rather than thinking of it emotionally. Because when you're actually doing business, you have to think very, like what is the correct thing for my business?
Sure.
Yeah. Let me think about emotions later, or maybe like,
Right.
sleep over it or cry, cry with my mentor, with whoever you do.
That's because you beat me. Just so you guys know, Shakun will not take it like easy on you.
Ouch.
She
Was
will
that?
beat you into listen, woman. I'm like, yes, Shakun, what
Oh my
am I
God.
supposed to do?
Really?
You're like,
Really?
no.
Really?
Yes. In the best way, as because I refer to you as my business consultant because you are. And the way listen, if you own if you're in the vice business industry, if you're a sex educator, if you have a sex toy company, if you are doing retreats, anything based on sex, sexuality, sexual health, kink, adult entertainment, this is the company and this is the business consultant that you want. And I say that not only as a client, but I mean, before I was her client, we were associates, and she was telling me about the business and things that were going on. And I know her knowledge of the industry. And so when she said, this is what you have to do, I was like, well, okay, and she was like, listen, Taylor, and she pulls no punches, but she knows what she's talking about. And listen to what I'm saying. She knows this industry. This is the part of the industry I had no clue about, Shakun. I had no one else to turn to, honestly. And you were the person who was like, this is how it is. This is the way it goes. And fuck them other people. Listen, this is what you need to do. So I'm telling you, if you have a business and you want to grow it, the last thing you want to be worried about as a business owner is your finances from the point of, will my money be processed and deposited to my account? That should be the least of your worries. You want to worry about marketing and clients, not will the money that the client gave me get to me?
Yeah.
And then will that money be processed into my account?
Absolutely.
That absolutely. And that is what your team has been for now. So tell me about your team. How many people are on the team and where did you find these people? And are they all over the world? Because I know you're all over the world.
Yes, my team is all over the world. We have a very small team, all young people, but they all are hungry for knowledge, hungry. So it's so interesting that every call that we have, at least one of them is telling me something new. And like even I sometimes I'm like, oh really? Really? This happens? Or so we all have started communicating in the similar manner, like what you're telling me, that if suppose if I'll tell them, you know what, we need to make this merchant happen. And if they think that it doesn't make sense, or if they are not getting good feel about it, they would simply say no, because XYZ. So there's always a reason, there's always a rationale. And that's how this team has worked. We're pretty chilled out people. We work whenever we want to work, which is usually most like every day. We all are slogging, even though, like there's no technically there's some like specific timeline of, by this time to this time you work. But that's how we wanted to keep it, because everybody's working in different time zones. The merchants are coming from different time zones. We have a lot of iGaming casinos, esports clients out of Europe. So the timeline is completely different.
Oh my gosh.
US is completely different. So everybody is completely different, but they've been able to hold on to it. They've been able to learn,
Nice.
which I think I've been very lucky about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so I hate calling it a family, but I just think that, everybody has each other's back. And I'm just not the CEO, I'm just one of the colleagues. And that's how I wanted to see it.
Well, that may be true, but it sounds like a family, and you are the CEO. And you are one of the people too, but you are a CEO, and I think an amazing CEO with that. I want to take a pause here and I'll talk and I want you to think about when I come back. I want to really know about how you saw this vision, or if you even got how you got here. Did you even expect it to be as thrilling as it is? But first, I want to take a moment to pause for our sponsor. If you are ready to elevate your intimate moments, I want to introduce you to Union Vegan Condoms, the game changers in the world of pleasure and protection. Yes, they are vegan. No, they are not a lettuce wrap. You cannot eat them. Experience the ultimate connection with our precision fit condoms, meticulously designed to let you feel it all. Say goodbye to animal byproducts and unpleasant odors, because at Union, they keep it clean and simple with their formulas. Union condoms are more than just protection. They are your ticket to safe and comfortable intimacy for all of your body parts. So why wait? Elevate your pleasure with Union condoms today. Visit them at unioncondoms.com and redefine your intimacy game. That's unioncondoms.com, because love should be clean, simple, and sensational. And try Union condoms and rediscover the joy of connection. Of course, we want to have a disclaimer to always practice safe sex. And if you sign on to Union condoms today, you can get 20% off your first order by using the code Organic Love. No N on the end, just ORGANIC Love. Thank you so much to our sponsors at Union Condoms. So
Lovely, lovely,
back to you,
lovely brand.
Shakun. So could you have envisioned where this company has grown to when you did this pivot? Did you, from that day to this day, did you think you'd end up here?
Actually, the vision was just to work with the sexuality industry.
Mm-hmm.
So we've expanded, and
Sure.
we have more iGaming and more casinos um, on a cap table rather than sexuality industry. So that
Mm-hmm.
was not something that that was thought of,
Mm-hmm.
but it has been a very, very, very interesting experience. The learning curve
Okay.
has been fabulous.
Nice.
I've never been a fintech person. I've never been a finance person. But then
No.
never. But then when it actually happens to you, and when
Mm-hmm.
you are in a catch-22 situation, then how are you going to support your team because you can't take in money?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That really makes you change,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
that was what happened with me. Because I could
Oh.
not take in money through our workshops. That was
Mm-hmm.
when we decided that either I close the shop
Yeah.
or I figure out a solution, because I have to feed a lot of people.
Mm. I get that. I understand that. And that responsibility it weighs on you, right? When you realize that your business has grown to the point where you're bringing on staff, and then you realize that that staff has rent to pay and cats to neuter, children to feed, and you want to be able to continue to support them in that way. And that does give you a certain charge, I believe.
Exactly. And that's what happened with TickleCharge. It just made sense. And
Mm.
my question was initially why nobody else did this. It just makes sense.
Yeah.
But when I actually started doing it, and because it was so hard, if I would have spent half of that time in raising funds, I would surely have raised some money.
Hmm.
But But that's the interesting part because, this is more important. Your business is more important than some money coming from outside.
Sure. Sure, sure,
And
sure.
now now the table has turned. We get partnership offers. We get,
Wow.
I haven't done a sales call for so long,
Wow.
but we do get a lot of inbound queries. So things
Mm-hmm.
have changed. And I think that ultimately the thing that really gets us going is when we get this email or when we
Mm-hmm.
get this call, the thank you
Mm-hmm.
so much for saving us.
Thank you so much for saving us.
Yeah, that just makes our day. Like, oh my God, you know what? We are doing something great.
Yes.
A lot of people might not know about us because we're always under the radar, but we are saving somebody's business.
You saved it. You say
we
I can honestly say you saved Organic Lovin's business.
ooh.
Honestly. Yeah.
Now
And
make
the
money.
interesting thing was the newsletter that I received, because I was not sleeping through the night. I hadn't slept through the night since February. And I think I saw the newsletter from you about processing, merchant services and processing. Um, 3 a.m. in the morning, I woke up and couldn't sleep, and I grabbed my phone and I just went to the email, and it was there, and it was from your team. And I'm like, oh God, what the fuck? Okay, let me call Shakun.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, yeah. And literally, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. And I was just tossing and turning. And normally, if I wake up in the middle of the night, I don't have like, I haven't had a clock in my bedroom in 20 years, because if I know what time it is, I cannot get back to sleep. So, and I never pick up my phone if I wake up in the middle of the night, because then I'll know what time it is. I can't get back to sleep. But I was just in such a turmoil. That,
Absolutely. Anybody would be.
yeah,
The
yeah, yeah,
situation was
yeah,
so bad.
yeah,
That's what
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying. It's a case study for us. How do you
Yay.
do this when a business is doing so well?
Well, there's a lot of things to be learned in that. And I don't want to get into my thing. We'll talk about your thing. Talk about your thing here.
But
But
I think even discussing about your thing will give an insight to a lot of your listeners that the assumption that we come with that it's not going to be me. And I think somewhere
well,
deep inside, even you might have thought like, for 10 years it's going fine. So obviously it's not going to happen to me. But when it does, it does.
not
So
only is it
might as
not
well
going
take
to
care of it.
happen, after 10 years of being in business, having phenomenal growth, been steady. Um, the well, just to give you guys what the merchant services company I had basically is the word stole, legally found out a way to steal or retain money from my company that put my whole company in jeopardy. Um, and it was a horrific nightmare. And one of the lessons learned for me was not to put all your eggs in one basket, especially if you don't own the basket. And something I've heard Oprah say, and something I've heard Rachel Rogers say, was to look at your money every day, right? And even though I wasn't looking at it with an eye of looking for something wrong until I found something wrong. But by the time I found something wrong, it was months later, because there was such a small amount of money being kept, if you will, that I didn't miss it right away based on the amount of money that was coming in on a daily basis. So, but yeah, it put the company in major jeopardy, and I had to get a whole new merchant services company, bank service,
Everything.
everything,
We had to get
payment
everything.
gateway, processor, everything, because of what happened with the previous merchant service. Not only did they ruin the financial, not ruin, not only did they do detriment or harm to the financial aspect, they also did harm to the business reputation side, on the financial side of my company. And so It was heart-wrenching,
It was, but you all learned.
mind-bending.
And I hope this incident teaches or makes other people aware that there are a lot of ways to get screwed and not in a good way. So might as well take care of yourself.
Yeah, they can find a way to retain your income. And I was speaking to Rachel Rogers. I mentioned it to her on a text, and she's an attorney. And she says, I've been there. It happened to me too. And so it's not like it was because it was a sex toy company. This woman had a law firm.
Exactly. So I'll give you an example, or I'll just try to explain it to you how things work. Whenever you can be even selling t-shirts, and the t-shirts can just have a heart. There doesn't need to be any sexual connotation or anything, even not a cigarette or a cigar on top of it. It could just simply be a plain black t-shirt. But the moment your customer base is unhappy, the moment they start complaining against you,
yes,
the moment they start asking for chargeback,
yes,
your company changes,
yes,
on the books for a bank. So your company is no more a good company to keep, but it's a high-risk company.
yes.
So your ultimate goal should be, how can I make it possible that there's no use, like going and fighting about chargeback if you're getting multiple chargebacks? Because there's a lot of components attached to it, a lot of fees attached to it. How can I make possible that a customer does not even reach to a position of demanding a chargeback? Would I refund? Would I talk to them? Would I explain them about the product? Would I make it a point that my services are done in such a manner that the chargeback doesn't happen? Because the moment your chargeback starts increasing, that's when you changes. So maybe with your lawyer, what would have happened was, because it's a service industry and there's no guarantee that everybody's going to like it.
Correct.
So did they choose the right clients who understood that, sometimes it is good and bad? Or did they end up picking clients who knew that, if it will not go our way, then we can simply just go and, ask for a chargeback?
Right.
And that's what would have happened with her.
It could be. And if you have a product that has to be delivered, I will say that in the age of Amazon, where things can be delivered that day or in the next day, clients can be very fickle if something is not delivered in 2 days. And I had a client call me because we answered the phone, and it was like, it's Tuesday and my product is not here. And your site said ships in 1 to 2 business days. I said, yes, sir. It does ship, not delivers in 1 to 2 business days. And you ordered on Sunday night, like at 10 p.m. because you can see what time the orders come in.
Yeah.
And I said, so Monday would have been day 1, and it's due to ship today, Tuesday, which is day 2, because it got processed on Monday because we don't process on the weekends. And he was like, no, it should have been here today. And I'm like, well, no, sir, we're not Amazon. He said, well, you're acting like you're Amazon. I'm like, no, because we don't say it's delivered in 2 days. We say it's, and then it says usually ships in 1 to 2 business days. So it was shipping as stated, but in his mind, it should have arrived on Tuesday. And so I offered him the refund.
Exactly.
He took the refund.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because
so that
you
was
knew,
fine.
Yeah, because you knew what was happening with this customer. But also to safeguard, because what if this customer would not have called you? How explicit is your refund policy?
It's pretty explicit. You cannot refund. Well, he hadn't gotten the product, but for those who, for our company, we cannot refund on any open sex toy because it's a hygiene issue. It's like, who are we going to sell it to? And we are not Amazon. We just can't buy product and keep taking it back, because sometimes people buy a product and they don't like it because it doesn't vibrate the way or whatever it is. So we cannot, but if there's a damage to it or they got the wrong product, then yes, we can have that, exchanged. And, if it doesn't work, we can they just need to write us and go, hey, we need to return it. We get a pre-printed label, a posted prepaid label from the distributor, and we exchange it for the same thing. So it's pretty explicit.
See, Taylor, because your policies are so explicit, that was why when you were getting a new merchant account, you were not high risk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I was coming down to for people, how explicit are you going to make your policies, and are you putting it on the website?
Yes.
Do you have a mechanism that, if it is shipped in 2 days and then an email reaches the person and the person can actually track where my package is?
Yes, they can track.
So you really need to work on your CRM as well. And I'm not talking about you, I'm talking about, from the people's point of view. So there's a very small thing. So that's what we are coming down to, that how do you run your business is more important than what do you run. Because there are going to be bad apples around. There are going to be people who are never going to be happy. There are going to be people, exactly. There are going to be people who just want to use it, but then are like, you know what? I need my money back.
People are like, where is my cock ring? Damn it. I'm like, wait, just calm down. The cock ring is on its way. It's coming.
Exactly. So it's a very interesting industry to be in. It needs specific requirements, but still it's a very traditional, it's a very the lessons are same for any industry. So you are special just because you have more things which other industries do not need to think about.
Sure.
But there is an opportunity. You just have to put your effort in the right direction.
Sure. One of the other things we put into place to try to mitigate the chargebacks, because sometimes people do order products and they just don't like it. You know what I mean? So we tell them we can't take it back. But if you are just I just hate it, I'm going to, we will offer a small credit, for like half the price, like a 50% credit of the product, not including the shipping. And we'll, trying to help in some kind of way, because we want our customers to be satisfied with the product. That's why we put as much description. We put, and some of the toys have a lot of our products, because we work primarily with really high-end brands. Most of our high-end brands have at least a 6-month warranty. Like if it's defective or it stops working 6 months in, or let's say 5 months in, you can get it replaced. Some of the, like Lilo has the 1-year warranty on their products. I mean, which is really, really good. So working with high-end products is very, is really, really very, and I curate everything that's on the site. So anything that has ingredients, I know what's in every product before it goes on my site. Every product. Because if I can't find it, I have called companies up and go, I've been to your website. I see you listed 4 ingredients. You say active. What else is in the product? No. What else is in the product? I need to know. Because and they don't have it listed on their own site, and it's their product. And that makes me think they're hiding something.
Exactly. And that's what actually goes, hey, according to the design, it doesn't look good if I have so many ingredients, but those are important because ultimately you have to run your business. And something which is so small might jeopardize the entire ecosystem of running a business. Just because you think that,
the ecosystem of a vagina.
Exactly. Yeah, both ways. In fact, there's one thing that I always tell people, that try to keep your chargeback less than 1%. So when you were talking about look at your numbers every single day.
Yes.
This is also very important. Look at the chargebacks every single day. You can't say like, hey, you know what? I just got 10 chargebacks. This is fine. But if 10 chargebacks is equivalent to 2% of your entire revenue, that's bad.
Mine was less than 1%. I think I was at 0.1% for 10 years until this summer, until that happened.
Exactly. So that was the reason why, it was still possible for you to get an account, because we did show your previous history that, see, this was because, this happened. Yeah, because otherwise, if it was more than that, we would never have been able to pull it off, because ultimately we are not the decision makers. We are the ones who are pushing for you. There's somebody else who's sitting and you don't know what kind of mood that person is on that
Oh
day.
my gosh. Yeah. Well, I think that this is your company, your team, what you're doing, not only for, the sex industry, but for those other industries that are in vice. And I just hope that at some point you have all 163 of those vices in your company that you
Um,
service us all, because it is a fight when you have a business that is a legal business that is bringing joy to people, not just sexual joy, whether it's gaming, whether it's medical marijuana that's helping somebody with a medical condition. These are things that are really helpful to people, and you're being shunned with a scarlet letter by someone who's sitting on their high horse, like, well, you could just take an aspirin. No, 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 no. You could just, it's like calling a woman frigid. Like, she's not frigid. You don't know what you're doing in bed. It's you. It's not her, really. It's you. And so I thank you so much, Shakun, for being here. I thank you and your team at TickleLife and TickleCharge for what you guys do.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. We just need all your support. Keep on bringing difficult cases. Keep on making
Yes.
us learn more. We grow, everybody grows, we grow. So, it's a very, very tight system. So
Yes, yes,
so
yes.
I just wish that there should never be somebody who's not able to make money because they can't take in money. They should,
Sure.
there can be other reasons. And of course,
Yes.
everybody is not, meant to do business, but that's a different
True.
ballgame altogether. If you are, you should be in a position to make
Well, to stay up to date with Shakun, thank you, Shakun, and her team, you could visit their website at Tickle.Life. Of course, she's also on IG at Tickle.Life, and the payment is TickleCharge.com. And of course, to stay up to date with Sisters of Sexuality, if you have any questions for me or our guests, feel free to email me at sistersofsexuality@gmail.com. And you can find us on all social media, Instagram, IG, and Twitter at Sisters of Sexuality. And by all means, stop by and visit our sponsors, Liberator.com, UnionCondoms.com. And don't forget, you get 20% off of your first order using the code Organic Love, and our sister site, Organic Lovin'. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. If this episode resonated with you, would you please consider subscribing as a way of supporting the growth of this channel and allow us to keep informing, educating, and entertaining you in all areas of sex, sexual health, kink, relationships, and the business of sex. So until next time, stay sexy. Bye-bye.
Organic Lovin', for the bodies you love to love. How do people describe you? Are you curious, playful, maybe sensual, adventurous? How about open-minded? The truth is, no matter who you are, Organic Lovin' has something to indulge your fantasies. We offer only organic, natural, and eco-friendly intimate body products, including vegan condoms, organic lubricants, body-safe sex toys, and sex-positive books. You won't find anything harmful in our products or toys. We also have a full range of other experiences, including erotic seminars and exotic adult-only vacations. Receive our adult subscription box for a monthly sexual delight. Be educated, entertained, and informed. Organic Lovin', for her, for him, for you, for the bodies you love to love. Visit organiclovin.com. We offer shipping worldwide, so stop by the site anytime. Organic Lovin'. That's LOVEN.com.